Today we start with a new volume. Actually, this is still volume 3. This volume, which you see, is volume 3B. Originally, the idea is that every volume has got 180 pages. But then it kind of range between 180 to 200 pages. Usually, sometimes 220 also got, because some of the topics are very interesting. And there are a lot of notes to put together for us to study. You can go as deep as you like, or you can just read the sutta as a kind of puja. Instead of chanting, you can recite 3 refuges, Namo Tassa, 3 refuges, 5 precepts, and you read the sutta, or read a section of the sutta, also can. When you read the sutta as a reflection of, it's Dhamma Nusati, recollection of the Dhamma, so it's also, it helps you to calm yourself. Okay, some people, they like to read something and they feel very happy when they read about the Buddha's teaching. Today's sutta is chapter 10. So this sutta SD 3.10, Ambalatika Rahula Sutta. Now the key word here is actually Rahula Sutta. There are a number of Rahula suttas, where you can see on the first page the number of suttas taught to Rahula. No? I mean, imagine the Buddha. He lived for 45 years, and every day he teaches Dhamma. It's not like, say, one day off, so today holiday. No? Of course, he goes for retreats. He does meditation early in the morning, just before sunrise. That is welcoming the dawn, and then in the evening, just as the sun is beginning to set at dusk. So these are 2 sessions. The switch of the day, night becomes day, day becomes night. So the Buddha goes into a solitary meditation. That means he sits by himself, very calm, meditates. For us, we can do that also. This is called quiet moment. Quiet moment. You can spend this quiet moment in your favorite part of your house, sitting down meditating, or you get your sutta book, just read up one sutta or one part of a sutta, or reflect on the sutta, or do a bit of puja, just by yourself, for yourself, and also for your whole family, for other people. Right? So that's also puja. You don't have to chant exactly those words. So the idea is to calm yourself. So Rahula Wada, you have 2 words combined. Rahula, name of the Buddha's son. O Wada, can you see the word Wada? Wada means to speak. O Wada, this is, O Wada means give advice. It's like talking from top down. So in other words, the father talking to the son. O Wada, advice. Rahula Wada, advice to Rahula. And this is given in the place called Ambalatika. Amba means mango. Latika here, Latika by itself means bamboo shoot. This what they call it, sugar cane. But Latika can also mean sprout. Okay, so Amba Latika is mango sprouts. The name of a place, right? This village is located between Rajagaha and Nalanda. It's somewhere near the Bay of Bengal, where Nalanda is. Okay, right. So this is advice given. Rahula was very young at this time. He was 7 years old, I think. So imagine 7 years old is really quite intelligent. Now, imagine someone 7 years old already becoming a monk. How did this happen? Now you remember the Buddha or Siddhartha left home. According to what we know from the sutta, he was around 28, 29, I think. So it's quite mature. That's the time when people begin to think for themselves, wonder about meaning of life. And then he spent about roughly 1 year meditating with the 2 teachers. And then he found it didn't help. Then he spent 6 years meditating by himself, doing all kinds of self-torture, very painful meditation. And in the end, he did not take food, became very thin. He nearly died. Then he realized that's not the way. So he tried all the possible methods of his time. Then he finally he remembered when he was 7 years old, he went into meditation. So even 7-year-old child meditated. The Buddha is a very special child, a precocious young person. Spiritually precocious. That means by nature he's already, very calm, he's intelligent, peaceful. So he sat down, meditated, and he got into jhana. He remembered that time. So he was like 29 years old. He couldn't find the answer. Then he remembered when he was 7 years old, he went into deep meditation and said, "Oh, this is the answer." Because I was very happy at that time. Instead of torturing my body, one extreme, instead of simply follow my body, that's the other extreme, actually follow middle way. There are some kinds of pleasure, some kinds of happiness which are good, which help us to be truly good. Okay? That kind of pleasure we should not be afraid. So he used that meditation to get into this very happy state, and the mind becomes clear and bright. Then it's easy for him to meditate. Okay? And that's the method I'm using also, to study the sutta, reflect on this, don't have to worry about the world, and then you're happy. Now when you're happy, you can do a lot of work, a lot of good work. Right? So now you have all these suttas available today. So also if you keep this kind of practice, you find you have this very happy energy to do good things, by the way. Okay? Because if you do bad things, you will never be happy. You can have all the money in the world, you will still not be happy. I mean, you can have a big yacht, you live in hiding, you steal 10 million, Singapore money a lot, very strong. You go to Thailand, you multiply it many times. You go to Malaysia, it's good enough. But you can't escape. Somehow, the law will catch up with you. You won't feel happy, you get very worried. The Buddha says those who do evil, every sound they hear, they are worried. They say, "Oh, is someone coming to get me?" And then when the last moment comes, so they're not very happy. So when they die, they go to a suffering state. So it's not worth it. Breaking the precept is not worth it. So the Buddha became enlightened, and of course his father was already worried about him. The father is sending messages to him, messengers, telling him, "Please come back and visit us." The problem is all the messengers came, the Buddha taught them Dhamma, they all became monks and never went back. Until the last person, but this person told the king, says, "Your Majesty, you got to give me leave, give me permission. I may not come back. I'll become a monk, When I see the Buddha, I'm sure to become a monk. Then I will come back or send someone back and inform you, and I'll pass the message to the Buddha." And he did that. So the story went that the Buddha came home around the second, second year of the rains, or second year. Second year, that means second race retreat onwards. That's how they count the year. No, is that correct?
Yeah. Second year.
So in a sense, like the Buddha taught the Dhamma and rains retreat come, and then first year in the deer park. Okay. So the Buddha, you got to +6. So he awakened at 35. So when he reached home, it was already around 40, 41. And you remember when he left home, a child was born to him. Remember the story, right? Rahula was born when he left home. So he spent 1 year meditating, 6 years torturing himself, and then 1 or 2 years after the first year teaching the Dhamma, he goes home. So Rahula is about 7 years old. Okay? So that means we have a rough idea when the sutta was taught. The sutta was probably taught around the second year of the ministry, probably. So there were not too many monks at that time. Okay, And Rahula was not even a stream winner yet. Okay, so the Buddha already took in non-arahats at that time. What can you teach a 7-year-old boy? Now here you see a father, the Buddha, teaching the son, Rahula. Okay. Next week we're going to do another sutta. Then Rahula will be about 18 years old, teenager. The Buddha teach something else, Okay. So today is very young. The Buddha taught him something very simple, and yet the way the Buddha teaches, although it is very suitable for Rahula, the Buddha also is speaking to us. Very simple, but some of the best advice for us are very simple advice. We don't need complicated, deep dharma, deep philosophy. Simple truths, plain truths. Okay, and this is the advice to Rahula at Ambalatika. M61. Very easy to remember. M61. Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 61. Thus have I heard, at one time the Blessed One was staying in the squirrel's feeding ground, in the bamboo grove near Rajagaha. See, bamboo grove was given to the Buddha very early, first year, by King Bimbisara. Beautiful bamboo groves there. And it's a big park. So one part of the bamboo grove is called the squirrel's feeding ground. People go there to feed the squirrels. And there are lots of squirrels there. At that time, the Venerable Rahula was staying at Ambalatika. So not too far away. Then the Blessed One, emerging from his evening retreat, went to where the Venerable Rahula was staying at Ambalatika. Now notice, here the Buddha just came up from his evening retreat, right? So this one is at dusk, when the sun is just setting. The Venerable Rahula saw him coming from afar, and on seeing him, prepared a seat and water for washing the feet. And this is a typical way, even in Thailand today, in the villages, the countryside, they will always, when the teacher comes, when the senior monk comes, they will welcome the teacher. So instead of a shrine, the best spot in the house, there will be a seat for the teacher. All right? So in other words, there's a seat over there where the shrine is. Why do you have a shrine? Where the shrine represents the Buddha, is it? Right? So there's a seat for the teacher, and then water. You see, because they all walk those days, so before they come to the house, the person will wash the teacher's feet, and then dry it, and then, of course, he may wash his hands also, and then sit down and then offer him water to drink. So water for washing, water for drinking. So these are basic duties we show a guest, a teacher, a guest. There are 4 kinds of respect. The Buddha says that we all as Buddhists should practice. Respect for the Buddha, that means we look up to the Buddha as our teacher, only one teacher. Like we have one father, not so many father, or I don't like this father, I'm waiting for the one who's going to come. We only have one father. That's good enough, all right? So it's respect for the Buddha. Number 2, respect for the Dharma, respect for the teaching. The best respect for teaching is listening to it, practicing it, meditating on the Dharma. Okay. The third one is respect for the Sangha. Here it refers to those arahats. Remember them, they're wonderful practitioners, and we follow their way. Today we also respect the monks who are good, right? We respect the robes, so we remind them, see, you're a monk, this is a wonderful chance, to learn the Dharma, awaken in this life, don't worry about money. I tell you, so many monks are worried about money, I think they've forgotten. Then people should keep on telling them. So they worry about so many worldly things. I don't know how they could have renounced, So it's very scary to know them sometimes. But they're so full of worries. Whereas lay people are less worried. We do our work and then we are at peace with ourselves. So to respect the Sangha means to respect renunciation. Right? In the suttas, the Buddha often says, if you practice like this, then you are a monk. That means you don't even have to get ordained to become a monk. If you meditate while you're sitting down at peace with yourself, at that moment you have what's called monkness. You're in the state of a monk. And then you come out, okay, you're back to your daily life. So being a monk is not change of robes, change of fashion or hairstyle. It's how you behave. It is your state of mind. Okay? But the traditional, the conventional monks are supposed to have a better chance to practice the Dhamma. If they respect the Dhamma, respect the Buddha. So these are three respects. What is the fourth respect? You have Buddha Garavata, Dhamma Garavata, Sangha Garavata. The fourth one is called Patisantara Garavata. It's a very nice word. In Thailand, Patisantara becomes Patisantan. Okay? It means respect for the guest. Now you know where this Asian idea of respect for the guest comes from. The guest is sacred. And this is the fourth respect. Respect for the guest. Okay? When the guest comes here, if you're truly guests, not evangelists coming to the door to teach you, they're not guests. Those are intruders. Those we chase away. I think was it just the other day. Yesterday, two of them came to my door again and say, "Oh, we have an invitation for you." I say, "What invitation?" "Oh, we have a love invitation." I say, "I'm married already." I said, "It's a gathering." I say, "Well, show me." "Oh, I can see some, religious name there." I say, "Oh, okay, here we go again." I say, "Please wait here. I go and get my phone camera." I love this part, I say, "Wait here. I go and get my phone camera. Don't go away." So I walk in, slowly. I don't actually have to get my camera anyway, because they're gone already. I say, "I'll take a picture." But you're not supposed to do that, you see, to bother people. They're not guests, you see, right? They don't respect your religion. That's why it's just not good. If they are what you call your Dhamma friends, your relatives, then you welcome them, take care of them. Like you all are guests. You're given very special treatment here. Okay? So here Rahula treats his father, his teacher, the Buddha, okay, in a very special way. The Blessed One sat down on the prepared seat, and while seated, washed his feet. So in this case, the Buddha himself washed his feet. The Venerable Rahula then bowed down to the Blessed One and sat down at one side. So here you see this very beautiful scenario, this practice. Then the Blessed One, having left a little bit of water in the water vessel, said to the Venerable Rahula, "Now I want you to imagine, where is this place that Buddha is teaching? It's right outside the door, right? So it's like on the spot, it's telling him, right? He said, you see, there's little water here. So this is a object lesson. The Buddha is using something which is there. Now, I remember meeting at Chansumedo. Okay, I was so happy. There's an English-speaking monk I could speak to, others who were speaking Thai. So he was a very young monk then, and this was around 1970, I think. So I said hello to him, and he's very happy to know that I can speak English too. So, and what do monks do? I mean, a good monk like Ajahn Sumedho. So we were in, it's called section 5. That is where the abbot lives in Wat Saket in Bangkok. And there is this, every monk's cell or quarters, there's a bit of space outside. That's where the monks have their meal and so on. So I remember I sat there. When you sit with a senior monk in Thailand, you sit with one of your leg pushed back, and the one leg crossed and the other pushed back. You don't cross your leg like that. That's only in meditation. But when you sit with the seniors, you're supposed to put your leg behind, so to speak. So I sat like that for 2 hours, and Ajahn Sumedho was giving me a talk. Not sutta, on the Vinaya, for 2 hours. So I don't know what is in his mind, but I remember those 2 hours very well. Not the words, but the feeling. Can you imagine you felt so peaceful when someone talked to you? It's not the words, it's the peace that remains with you. That's one moment I never forget. That's what a monk does, a good monk does to you. He just by being present brings peace to you, not worries and other concerns, right? Right, so here the Buddha, right there, where he's washing his feet at the door, teaches the Dhamma to Rahula. And Rahula is sitting down, listening to him. So the Buddha says, see, okay, there's a bit of water in this vessel, right? How much water is it? Very little water, right? So the teaching begins. Notice the heading say, parable of the water in the pot. All these words are not there. This is in our translation series. We add in all this so that it's easy for you to follow the what's called the scribal tradition, the reading tradition. Okay? So you have a rough idea what you're going to read about. Then the Blessed One, having left a little bit of water in the water vessel, said to the Venerable Rahula, Rahula, do you see this little bit of water remaining in the water vessel? Yes, Bhante. Notice it's more of a question than a statement, right? This is sometimes, in the West, this is called the Socratic method. Now this is very interesting because around the same time, you have 3 or 4 great teachers in different parts of the world. Socrates in Greece, Isaiah, second Isaiah in Israel, Confucius in China, and the Buddha in India. And all these 4 great teachers, they teach the people to turn away from the old priestly way where you go to the priest do everything for you. So you can do it yourself. You can be at peace by your own effort. Right? So this idea of turning your attention from outside and looking for answer within you seemed to happen around a period of a few thousand years. So there was this philosopher in Germany. He says there might be some kind of connection. The world seemed to be, a kind of revolution is happening. So he calls this the axial age. Axis is like a turning point. Axis. Axial means the world is turning from the old way, or the old religion of spirits and ghosts and burning this, burning that, to the looking inwards, your own practice. So the world is changing. That's called the axial age. So, all right, now coming back to the sutta. So the Buddha asked, this is the Socratic method of teaching. The Buddha asked questions. So do you see very little water? It's very clear. Okay. Rahula says, yes, Bhante. Even so, the moment the Buddha says, even so, he's going to teach you. Rahula, little is the recluseship of those who have no shame in telling a deliberate lie. See, everything is connected. The Buddha says, you say little water, right? Okay, little is also what happens to someone who is a monk but tell lies. I mean, just like this little bit of water left, not much use. All right? So, this is also another method of teaching which is famous in ancient India. From the known, you are led to the unknown, what is not known yet. You begin from what you know to what you do not yet know. So there is this kind of compatibility. Okay, so these are ways of teaching. So the Buddha, Rahula said, yeah, there's a little bit of water only, right? So then the Buddha used the word little, because in this case, the Buddha knows, okay, Rahula understands the concept of little, not much, not very useful. So now the Buddha, water may have some significance, but once you have used it, that's it. Whereas recluseship, becoming a monk, it's big. So if there's only little, then you're wasting your time, right? If you tell lies, you lose that recluseship, the monkness, the goodness of the training. Next, section 4. Having thrown away a little bit of the remaining water, the Blessed One said to the Venerable Rahula, Rahula, do you see how this little bit of remaining water is thrown away? Yes, Bhante, replies Rahula. Even so, Rahula, thrown away is the recluseship of those who have no shame in telling a deliberate lie. So what's the Buddha doing here? He's emphasizing the simple truth. Don't lie, don't lie. See? So this is another method. See, you've got a teacher, wow, you have a lot of methods here, Right? Number one, using question. Number two is you start with something that you know, go on to something you don't know. And here, repetition. You repeat something important you want to teach. Don't lie. This is what the Buddha is teaching Rahula. Then he uses words already Rahula knows. So next time Rahula washes his feet, little water, all right, don't lie. If you lie, you're little bit of recluseship left, and you pour away the water, it's empty, nothing. So the recluseship is thrown away when you lie. Monkhood is thrown away when you lie. And then, what else can we do with all this bowl of water, this washing bowl? Section 5. Having turned the water vessel upside down, the Blessed One said to the Venerable Rahula, Rahula, do you see how the water vessel is turned upside down? Yes, Bhante. Even so, Rahula, upside down is the recluseship of those who have no shame in telling a deliberate lie. See, notice how amazing the Buddha could just use a simple occasion and pick the keywords and then bring home a very simple but vital point to this young boy who's 7 years old, not to lie. 6. Having turned the water vessel right side up, the Blessed One said to the Venerable Rahula, Rahula, do you see how empty and hollow this water vessel is? Yes, Bhante. Even so, Rahula, empty and hollow is the recluseship of those who have no shame in telling a deliberate lie. Okay? Alright, so here you have the teaching. 4 aspects of water, the washing your feet. And the Buddha uses, number 1 is the word little, number 2 the idea of thrown away, number 3 upside down, and after that, number 4, the Buddha turns and says hollow. Very nice sequence, right? So this is amazing. Even you can study as literature. You don't need to be religious to study these things. It makes good sense. So let's say if a school subject studies ethics, this is wonderful teaching. It doesn't say, you must be holy, go and pray. This is ethical teaching, right? And yet it is very spiritual. Okay, so here the Buddha gives one kind of object lesson using the water vessel. Now, one more round, one more cycle of teaching. This time the Buddha goes on using something in the mind, a parable. Okay, the parable of the royal elephant. Again, Rahula also is familiar with elephants. And the ancient Indians know a lot about elephants. Section 7. Suppose, Rahula, there is this royal elephant. His tusk long like a chariot pole, fully grown, fit, or you can translate as fit to carry a burden, of good pedigree. That means very beautiful, properly born from good parents, accustomed to battle. See, elephants are very important to the king. They, in fact, when Alexander tried to invade India, King Porus had many elephants, and the Greeks had never seen elephants before. So they had difficulty fighting the Indian army because of the elephants. Then, so the elephants, they go into battle. They are the tanks of modern times. So accustomed to battles, and in battle, it uses its 4 feet and hind feet its forequarters, the front, and hindquarters, its head and ears, its tusk and tail. So here, this is where the social historians will love this kind of document. They will value the Buddhist text. They will say, oh, this is the most ancient record we have of Indian warfare. In India, with the elephant fights, this is how the elephant, these are the parts of the elephant we use to either defend or attack. So the elephant will use all parts of its body, but there's one part the elephant will not use. That's the next sentence. But the elephant protects its trunk. How does the elephant protect its trunk? Okay, here, I think that, I don't know whether the commentary mentions this or not. Yeah, it says by putting it in his mouth, okay? It keeps it safe because the nose is sensitive, you see. So this is how a trainer will watch which elephant are good for battle. So when it sees this elephant using all parts of his body, but you put the end of the trunk in the mouth, you know, that elephant is very good, very special, right? So this is what the Buddha says. But protects its trunk. Noticing this, the elephant rider thinks, this royal elephant, its trunk is long like a chariot pole, fully grown, it can carry a good burden, accustomed to battles, and in battle, it uses its forefeet, hind feet, and all parts of his body, but the trunk, the end of the trunk, he puts in the mouth. So this elephant has not given up its life. This elephant is strong. Yeah? But Rahula, when the royal elephant, and everything, the description is the same. This elephant is big, strong, but the elephant doesn't know how to protect itself. The elephant will get into trouble. Because if someone is clever, he will hurt the elephant's trunk, and the elephant will panic already, right? So, but what is this all about, you ask, right? So the Buddha used this idea of the elephant. 7.3, Rahula, it is the same with anyone who has no shame in telling a deliberate lie. There is no bad, I say, he will not do. Rahula, you should train yourself thus. I will not tell a deliberate lie, even in jest, even as a joke. Yeah? So, putting the trunk in the mouth is like you're holding back, watching your speech. Okay? Okay, so this is the parable. And then there's a third parable. He wants to make sure Rahula remembers this very important teaching. Number 8. What do you think, Rahula? What is a mirror for? For reflection, Bhante. Right? So all these are simple questions for a 7-year-old boy, okay? But they are lessons, Dhamma lessons. In what way, Rahula? In the same way, Rahula. So, okay, Rahula knows, okay, you look at the mirror, you see yourself, right? So Rahula understands that. Now the Buddha gives a deeper meaning to looking into the mirror. So next time you get up in the morning, you comb your hair in front of the mirror, you also remember this, hopefully. You know? This teaching will return to you. The suttas all over the house, you know, when I was speaking, all right? All right, so 8.2. In the same way, Rahula, bodily action should be done only after repeated reflection or constant review. Verbal action should be done only after repeated reflection or constant review. Mental action should be done only after repeated reflection or constant review. This is the essence of the sutta, actually. If you forget the rest, remember this. Our 3 doors of karma is body, speech, and mind. Whether we act bodily, we speak, or we think, consider very carefully. Okay, this is the lesson. In the rest of the sutta, the Buddha explains how. Now we go into a deeper aspect. Okay? Notice again how the Buddha builds up the lesson. How did it start? Simple washing feet with a bowl of water, you know, and the Buddha builds up the ideas. And the ideas are very simple, right? Okay, so this is something you can think about. And moreover, these are very natural kind of process, I don't think the Buddha planned a syllabus, say, okay, this is what I'm going to say. The Buddha say he does it naturally. Yeah? Now comes the part for us, the adults, about the teaching of the 3 doors. Notice I put a heading there for you. And then the first part is reflecting on the bodily action, and the second part is verbal action, and the third part is mental action, and then the sutta finish. Right? So this is where the Buddha talks about it. How to protect your 3 doors of action. We're going to take early break, is it? Okay. Yeah, then we go to second part. We take short break. Yeah. This is the closing half of the Ambalatika Rahula Vada Sutta, where the Buddha talks about the 3 doors of action. And in this section there are 3 or 4 parts. There's a very interesting structure to each of this lesson. And I have given you a bit of a subtitle for each section. For example, you look at section 9, 1a, consider wisely before doing. Right? So you see that it is what's called small caps. So this is not part of the sutta, it's just to help you remember what this section is about. Now if I tell you, just remember, consider wisely before doing, it's nothing interesting. So you read what the Buddha says there. That makes it interesting. Rahula, whenever you want to do an action with the body, you should reflect on it thus. This action I want to do with my body, with the body, will it harm me, or harm others, or harm both? Remember, these are the 3 rules, the 3 rules of purity of action. Will it harm me? Will it harm others? Will it harm the environment, if you like, generally? Yeah? Number 3, both me and others, that means generally. Is it unwholesome bodily action with painful outcome, painful results? Okay, what are the consequences? Right? Consider the consequences. If Rahula, on reflection, you know it will harm me, or harm others, or harm both, it will be an unwholesome bodily action with painful outcome, painful result, then certainly you should not do such an action with the body. Right? So this is how we regard, should I do this or not? Right? So number 1, ask the 3 points of purity. Will it hurt me? First of all, will it hurt me? Right? Number 2, others. People, especially people I care for, the person that I am dealing with. And number 3, everyone, including the environment also. Nowadays we talk that way. Right? Then ask yourself, what are the consequences? What will happen to me? Will anything bad happen to me or not? Right? Is it worth it, basically? 9.3. But Rahula, if on reflection you know it will not harm me, nor harm others, nor harm both, it will be a wholesome bodily action with pleasant outcome, pleasant result, then you should do such an action with the body. Okay? So if it doesn't harm me, others, or anyone, then, and moreover the results is positive, is good, then you can do it. Section 10. And now when you are doing the action, Rahula, while you are doing an action with the body, you should reflect on it. This action I'm doing with the body, is it harming me, or harming others, or harming both? Is it an unwholesome bodily action with painful results, or painful outcome, painful results? So while you're doing it also, because sometimes we don't know, we do not know really what's going to happen. So just now was before you act. Now while you're doing it, you say, okay, what's happening here? Am I hurting myself? Am I hurting someone else right now? Am I hurting the environment right now when I'm doing this? If Rahula, on reflection, you know it is harming me, or harming others, or harming both, it is an unwholesome bodily action with painful outcome, painful results, then you should give it up. In other words, stop doing it right away. Okay, this is called right effort. But Rahula, if on reflection you know that it is not harming me, nor harming others, nor harming both, it will be a wholesome bodily action with pleasant outcome, pleasant results, then you should pursue it. If it is good, then continue doing it. Okay? Okay, then the third one is after the action is done. 11. Notice again the 3 periods of time. Before you do it, while doing it, and then after doing it. Okay, number 11, after the action. This is called review. Rahula, having done an action with the body, you should reflect on it. This action I have done with the body, did it harm? Notice that tense now is past tense. Did it harm me, or harm others, or harm both? Was it an unwholesome bodily action with painful outcome, painful results? If Rahula, on reflection, you know it did not harm me, in other words, it's okay, in fact, it's something good, then by all means pursue it. Alright? So, notice, then the Buddha says something else, something new. You can number this as 11.2 if you like. Okay?
Then the following one, 11.3.
Yeah, I should change accordingly. Because some of these parts they are numbered easier to refer. Confession and contrition. So here, this tells Rahula, if you reflect, okay, this is action which is harmful to me, to others, to environment, and not wholesome, bring painful results, then you should confess it. Reveal it, lay it open to the teacher or to wise companions in the holy life. Okay. Now this section is very important. This section gives you what's called the location of this idea of confession. Now if someone asks you, where did the Buddha teach about confession? So this is the one in Ambalatika Rahula Vada Sutta. What do we confess? How do we confess? We confess things which went wrong, which we didn't realize is harmful to us, right? And then who do you confess to? Here you confess to the Buddha, the teacher, someone wise. So it's not coffee shop talk. It is not something you want your friend to say, oh, it's okay, I also do the same. Right? Then both will say, get into trouble the same way, right? So here, this confession, especially among monks, is a training. The teacher will say, okay, now that you see it's wrong, to that extent, you are right, you are good. So keep it that way. So the teacher is strengthening you, giving you strength not to break that rule again. That's the idea. So this is the principle in counseling, in helping people, how to basically listen to people. Well, it's not actually even giving advice. It's not giving advice. It's spiritual counseling is more like you guide the person saying, yeah, you've done the right thing. Okay, now do you know what to do next? So you're helping this person think for himself, feel for himself. So that's the meaning of confession here. Next section. Having confessed, reveal it, let it open to the teacher or to a wise companion in the holy life, you should show restraint in the future. Right? So when we talk about contrition, it means also restraint. That means you're not going to repeat it. Okay? Right? So Buddhist confession is like that. You don't repeat it. It's not the idea of purifying yourself of action. Okay? It's to strengthen yourself with this understanding that I should not do this bad thing again. But Rahula, if on reflection you know it did not harm me, not harm others, nor both, right? But it was a wholesome bodily action with pleasant outcome, pleasant results, then you should, with zest and joy, train day and night in wholesome things. You should happily practice. Okay? So this is the teaching about action with the body, how to reflect. So this is the key. No? First is decide the three purities. Does it harm me, others, the environment? Number two, does it bring bad karma, painful results, consequences? Right? And before doing it, think. While doing it, consider it. Is this okay? And then the third one is, at the end of it, after you look back, you say, well, everything is all right, but then now I realize it's not very good. Okay, then you change accordingly. So if you're not sure, ask a wise person who is kind and Dhamma spirited. Same thing with speech, okay? So I'll just read to you so you can have a good idea what's going on here. Section 12. Rahula, whenever you want to do an action with speech, in other words, you are going to speak, you should reflect on it. This action I want to do with speech, will it harm me or harm others or harm both? Is it an unwholesome verbal action with painful outcome, painful results? If Rahula, on reflection, you know it will harm me, it will harm others or harm both, it will be an unwholesome verbal action with painful outcome, painful result, then certainly you should not do such an action with speech. But Rahula, on reflection, right? So if you know it won't harm yourself, nor harm others, nor harm the environment, and the results, the outcome are good, then you can do it. By all means, do it. Okay. This is the by speech, what you're going to say. If on the other hand, what you're doing, you reflect on it, then is it harming me, others, and environment? And then it is. You say, wow, this is not good. The result's not good. Then avoid it. Restrain yourself from saying such a thing. Okay. Section 14. Rahula, having done an action with speech. Okay, so the section 13 is while you're doing it. So even as you talk, you tell yourself, okay, how is this affecting people, right? Is it okay? If you notice, okay, wrong, the effect's not good, then you change accordingly right away. Okay, and then section 14 is review. Okay, so you have preview, and then you kind of observing, and then review. Reviews, look back, you examine how did it go. Okay, so you got three stages to the three kinds of doors of action. And if you need, ask advice from a wise teacher, kind friend. Okay. Okay. Now we come to something called Sutta Puja. Because everything is so clear, repetitive now. We're going to read section 15. We read together, and then we end it. Okay. Section 15, 16, 17. Are you ready? So we can reflective reading. Okay. 15. Rahula, whenever you want to do an action with the mind, you should reflect on it. This action I want to do with the mind, will it harm me or harm others or harm both? Is it an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful results? If Rahula, on reflection, you know it will harm me or harm others or harm both, it will be an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful result, then certainly you should not do such an action with the mind. But Rahula, you know it will not harm me, nor harm others, nor harm both. It will be a wholesome mental action with pleasant outcome, pleasant result. Then you should do such an action with the mind. Rahula, while you are doing an action with the mind, you should reflect on it. This action I am doing with the mind, is it harming me or harming others or harming both? Is it an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful results? If Rahula, on reflection, you know it is harming me or harming others or harming both, it is an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful results, then certainly you should give up such an action with the mind. But Rahula, if on reflection you know it is not harming me, nor harming others, nor harming both, it will be a wholesome mental action with pleasant outcome, pleasant result, then you should pursue such an action with the mind. Rahula, having done an action with the mind, you should reflect on it. This action I've done with the mind, did it harm me, harm others, or harm both? Is it an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful results? If Rahula, on reflecting, you know it did harm me, or harm others, or harm both, it was an unwholesome mental action with painful outcome, painful results, then you should be concerned, ashamed, disgusted regarding that mental action. Rahula, feeling concerned, ashamed, disgusted, you should show restraint from then on. But Rahula, if on reflection you know it did not harm me, nor harm others, nor harm, it was a wholesome mental action with pleasant outcome, pleasant result, then you should with zest and joy train right night and day in wholesome things. Right? So notice, the Buddha says, if you notice this way of thinking is not good, then you should be concerned, ashamed, disgusted. Right? We should say, concerned meaning, wow, this is wrong. Right? And then ashamed, what would people think of me if I do this? And disgusted, say, oh, this is all wrong, right? This is an aspect of what is called moral shame, moral fear. Right? So these are how we train ourselves to make the right decisions, in other words. Then the Buddha closes everything, summarizes everything for Rahula, section 18. Rahula, all these recluses and Brahmins in the past who purified their bodily actions, purified their verbal actions, purified their mental actions, had done so, notice past tense, had done so through repeated reflection on bodily actions, through repeated reflection on verbal actions, through repeated reflection on their mental actions. Right? So this is so what the Buddha is saying here. In the past, the good teachers also did the same thing. They taught the same thing. And also in the future, good teachers will teach the same thing too. Rahula, all those teachers of the future who will purify their bodily actions, verbal action, mental action, they will do so in the same way, by repeated reflection. Notice repeated reflection on their bodily actions, verbal actions, mental actions, on their actions, speech, and thoughts, in other words. And Rahula, all those teachers and Brahmins of the present, right now also, who are purifying their bodily actions, their verbal actions, their mental actions, in other words, they are pure in their action, their speech, and their mind. They are doing so through repeatedly reflecting on their action, their speech, and their thoughts. And in that way, they purify these three doors of action through repeated reflection, right? Or if you like, you can say preview, observation, and review. Okay. The Blessed One said this. Okay, so this last line is the sutta compiler. It's telling us, okay, story finished already. The Blessed One said this. Satisfied, the Venerable Rahula rejoiced in the Blessed One's word. Okay, so there you are. Although Rahula didn't attain any level here, remember this sutta is very important because it's through Rahula the teaching is transmitted to us. Okay. All right. Any quick questions? Yes.
In the beginning, you spoke about the Buddha who was 7 years old.
Rahula, yes.
7 years old, then he can meditate in the dhyana state. So in this sense, do we consider Buddha as a Sakadagami?
No. Still, he's not even a Sotapanna yet. It's not, no level yet when he was young.
I mean that when Buddha came into this life.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was even a streamliner because there's no mention in the suttas he's attained any levels. But you can say that he has certain good qualities. Okay, he's a good layperson, mostly I would say, because his ability is there, but it's not realized yet. We should not add too much into him now, because then it becomes like what's called predestination. In other words, like fated to be, Buddha. It's different when a person is ready, because things could have changed. But then somehow the conditions were right, and the Buddha was able to meditate, and then he remembers the meditation. But even then, remember, his father tried to, make him be a man of the world. But then he saw the foresights, and because he's very intelligent, he is deep thinking, and has also asked the right questions. And then, when he could not understand something, he could not get the answer, he wants to find out what really is going on. So it's very great concern. So he would be a great king. If he became a king, he would be a very great king, you see. But as a teacher, he'd be the Buddha. So, other than that, we are not told whether he has attained any of the 4 stages of sainthood or not. In fact, even all those 4 stages of sainthood are terms that Buddha used to explain how we clear our minds. Okay, so it cannot be applied retroactively, so to speak. Okay, yeah, but it's interesting to know that there's such a person. I mean, it shows that. In a sense, it's not surprising, he's going to be Buddha. So you're talking about these millions and millions of human beings. There must be one particular one who's very special. So that special one becomes the Buddha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Page 2.
Yes.
The last section, 1.5.4. The second line. Then and call. What is that? Last word. second line.
Encore means repetition.
Repetition.
Repeat. Oh, there's a typo. The 5 aggregates separate the 5. A long sentence. The arrangement of these suttas in terms of the successive teachings is significant. It shows the progress from easier individual topics to their presentation as a set, the 5 aggregates, and then an encore, a repetition. So the teaching repeats itself, right? And finally on non-self. Okay? It's a French word, encore, pronounced encore. Yes?
This sutta is very good, very important.
All the suttas are good.
I would like to, because those Mahayana, they always have the practice of repentance.
Yes.
They want to refine Buddha.
Yeah.
So what is the significance or any differentiation from this?
Well, you have rituals and you have actual effort made. See, the problem about rituals is you are looking outside. You feel that by doing this special thing which other people approve, I'm purified. That's what the Brahmins were teaching. The Brahmins say, you come to me, okay, you all are evil. Now you come to me, you bring so much rice, so much chicken, so much goat, of course, a lot of money, and then I'll do this prayer for you. And they never teach anyone the prayers, only they know it. See? So you go to the Brahmin, you do all this and you feel, oh, I'm pure, and then you go back and do the same things again. See? So this is, we call it Brahmanization of Buddhism. We are going back, all right? That by doing an outside action, you can correct something inside you. You can't. The problem is inside you, you must correct it inside you yourself. No one else can do it for you. So this sutta teaches you that. Of course, teacher can inspire you. Like the Buddha is doing that. He's teaching us, from 2,500 years ago, his voice has still come to us, frozen in the words. Now we melt it down so that it comes out again to us. And then it's the same thing. Same teaching, the power, still there. As long as inside you look at it, you say, okay, I'm going to do it. It's not a ritual. It's not a status. The other thing is a status. I'm wearing this nice robe. Now I've attained certain title or whatever. It's not like that. Notice one part says you happily, joyfully do the action when you know it's right. So the joy is a very important part of your action also. Not pride, joy. Okay, very good. So just reflect on this, remember this.
One question. When did this Brahmanization of Buddhism start?
Oh, you might say even in Buddha's time, you have all these things going on, so the Buddha had to repeatedly teach, say, that's not the right way. After the Buddha passed away, you find there's so many monks, thousands and maybe millions even. Of course, India's population is less at that time, but definitely there were thousands of monks. And the monasteries are very big. So once the monasteries are big, then you have competition for donations and so on. So they got to think of ways of making lay people happy. So you see a lot of populist monks today. They will tell the lay people, everything is all right, everything is okay. So the lay people like them, you see. So when people like them, then of course they will donate. So that's the whole idea, you see. So that's why sometimes you find even on Facebook some monks teaching strange things. All they want is just connection from lay people. So that's called Brahmanization. In other words, you offer a service. You're telling the lay people, oh, I can do something for you, or you just look at all these things, and then you help me, then you get benefit. So Buddhism becomes a transaction, negotiable. So they talk about transference of merit. We don't have transference of merit in the suttas. You cannot transfer merit. How are you going to give karma to someone? Merit is your own action. See, but we dedicate merit. That's different. See, you use loving kindness, but you can't really transfer loving kindness, but you send this feeling. It's like you take one candle, you light another candle. You see, the light of the first candle is not lost.
Unless I eat the food, then Mr. Low can become full.
So that's a very, very good example on how it's the wrong way of thinking in the when you imagine that you can correct things inside you by doing outside things. You see, so this is what the Buddha is basically saying. You can do it yourself. You have all the goodness inside you. Some teachings tell you are rotten, you can't be helped, so you need someone else to help you. I'm the one. Okay, so that's a kind of blackmail. Whereas the Buddha straight away tell you, hey, come on, you have all these wonderful qualities inside you. You should be able to do it yourself. So it's like you're training a sportsman. I say, you can do it. I can't jump for you. You got to jump. You got to run yourself. So it's like sports. You can use sports also to illustrate this kind of idea. All the good things in life, you see, this is the idea behind it, you see. Okay, very good questions. Yeah. Yes.
I just wonder why Buddha choose to teach Rahula not to lie.
Oh, well, there are lots of.
I mean,
Yeah.
to teach Rahula that they have to watch your body.
Well, he's 7 years old. He's very proud of his father. And your kids, the way they talk, I mean, they're not really lying, but I like to tell fibs, you say. Things are not true, very imaginative, So, and this young boy is going to be a monk, I mean, he is a monk, but he's going to be a famous monk. So the Buddha wants to make sure, especially the Buddha's son, to make sure it's a good example to others, not even to tell lie in jest, even for fun, you see. So because he's a monk, he's not an ordinary boy, you see. So in other words, the monk has a duty to be better than others because it's the example for others, you see. So that's why the Buddha taught Rahula all these things, okay. And then the next lesson, Maharahula Vada Sutta, he goes even a bit deeper. He goes into meditation. Okay, that's the next lesson. Yeah. So the Buddha noticed something. The commentaries did mention Rahula was kind of like telling some stories to others. He's very proud of the fact that Buddha is his father. All right. Next week will be about Rahula as a teenager. He said, "Oh, my father is very handsome," and so he thinks like that. Then the Buddha look at him and say, "Well, let me teach you some Dhamma now," to a teenager. Okay, so that's next lesson. Anything else? Okay, all right. So that we end here. Right. Today we have reflected on the Ambalatika Rahula Vada Sutta, one of the key teachings, very famous, very popular, so much so that it is found in many ancient texts of the ancient times, even inscribed on rocks and so on. These are very simple teachings, and yet they're so profound in their benefits. And if we practice this, it brings us great happiness. It will help us to be at peace with ourselves so that we will be able to cultivate our minds. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. But above such karma, may we be well and happy, at peace with ourselves, so that in this life itself we have the courage and wisdom to aspire at least to attain stream winning. May our family and loved ones to be well and happy. And by all these good deeds we have done, may they find true peace in this life itself. May those who are practicing the teaching to reach their goal happily in this life itself. And may those who have lost their way and have difficulties to return to the right path and see the Buddha's teaching for the wholesomeness that it is. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.